Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Metals Company's channel, developing the world's largest estimate of resources of metals required for the electric vehicle and low carbon future in a very intriguing way. As Craig, the CFO, joins us. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thanks, Kyle. It's always a pleasure.
And always a pleasure to get you back on. I think for newer audiences, first and foremost, can you just tee up what you guys are exactly doing there at TMC?
Yeah, we are developers of the world's largest estimated source of battery metals from these seafloor polymetallic nodules. I hold one in my hand here, and we have a resource of 1.6 billion tons of those nodules. And rather than mining, you're effectively collecting them as they sit unattached on top of the seafloor. So we are developing this alongside our sponsoring states of Nauru and Tonga. But importantly, this asset's in international waters. So we are seeing a lot of progress from the regulator and saw quite a bit of progress over 2024 and expect more this year. But we are looking forward to, I think, a lot of intriguing headlines from the United States and others going into 2025.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. Now, do you want to just speak on the tailwinds? I know there's a lot of political rhetoric around mining, especially with you guys on the forefront of something that's been largely unheard of. So maybe tell us what tailwinds were going on, how the election is affecting this, Republicans, Trump coming in. Maybe give us your full view on it.
Sure. Well, in 2024, I think you saw a lot of other countries emphasize deep sea mining. China has been focused on this industry intently. Over a year ago, there was a piece in the Washington Post, and then about a year ago, a piece in 60 Minutes focused on how China is trying to dominate deep sea mining in international waters. Norway has made a lot of progress in deep sea mining in their territorial waters. Japan has done the same. India is focused on deep sea mining in and around the Indian Ocean, and actually just recently had an auction for various contract areas. So some of the largest and most populous countries in the world are looking to do this. So where's the United States on this front? And I think that's why 2025 is going to be so exciting. We feel the US is now going to be prioritizing deep sea mining and using contractors, frankly, that have experience and have done a lot of the work to prepare for this new world in which critical minerals are so important. So on the one hand, you have China looking to really push ahead very aggressively. How is the US going to respond? Well, we think it's important to note that for the US election, the Republicans have been the supporters for TMC in this industry, going back even last year, the Responsible Use of Seafloor Resources Act, which would provide financial and diplomatic support for deep sea mining. Well, now you have Republicans controlling both houses of Congress and the White House. And within the White House, some of the key people on the deep sea mining file, well, it would be the State Department and the UN ambassadorship. Both Secretary of State-elect Marco Rubio, as well as Elise Stefanik, who is the UN ambassador nominee, both of them are already on the record as nodule supporters and champions and know the TMC story and the deep sea mining story very well. The incoming Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, is coming from Cantor Fitzgerald, who we work with quite a bit. Waltz is coming in as National Security Advisor, already a nodule supporter. So we feel the key people within the cabinet in the White House who are going to be making decisions on how much the U.S. might support this industry to support not just electric vehicle batteries. That's not their focus. It's more on industrial and military applications because nickel, manganese, and cobalt and copper are all critical minerals, all of which are present in these nodules. So I think you saw the seeds being planted in 2024 for U.S. action in this space, and now it's going to hit overdrive as we go into 2025 because this resource that TMC has, that alone in our two contract areas is sufficient to bring mineral independence to the U.S. when it comes to nickel, manganese, and cobalt.
Yeah, which is absolutely incredible. But if there's one thing you guys are focused on, investors should focus on, whether policy or something direct, I mean, tell us what that would be coming into 2025.
Yeah, you're already seeing, I think, previews in terms of how this is going to be dealt with both in Congress and the White House. In fact, President Biden signed last week of December the National Defense Authorization Act, effectively the Pentagon's military spending bill for the year. That National Defense Authorization Act is requiring a feasibility study on polymetallic nodule refining within the US. TMC also has a pending application to the Department of Defense to do a similar type of feasibility study. And we're seeking $9 million to do that. There are existing bills I mentioned from Republicans in the House that we expect would get revisited. And then finally, you also have the possibility just for executive orders. taking a step back, the Trump administration has made it clear that critical minerals are important. That's one of the reasons that they're making overtures to Greenland. One of the reasons too that, hey, international shipping lanes are important, and the U.S. is talking about revisiting the relationship with respect to the Panama Canal. When you're talking about those big splashy international headlines, it's also not far-fetched to imagine that the U.S. wants to take a stronger seat at the table when it comes to deep sea mining in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone. And as a North American company based in Canada, listed on the NASDAQ in the US, we feel we would be a natural partner.
On that note, we'll pass it off to the viewers. Consider subscribing as news catalyst comes down the wire. Of course, we're going to bring it to you here. But on that note, to definitely appreciate your time, Craig, and we'll look forward to catching you in the next one.